Well, good morning. Good morning. This is Coffee with Carol. And I do want to welcome you. If you are new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss any messages. And if you have been here before, well, welcome back. This morning, I want to talk with you about honoring God with your wealth. Honoring God with your wealth. Proverbs 3:9 in most all of the versions says to honor God with your wealth and give him the first fruits of everything you produce. The King James Version, though, says honor God with your possessions. And then there are some other versions that say honor God with your substance. And so I really think about that. I think we have to go back to recognizing that nothing that we have that we are in possession of, whether it's something that makes us who we are, like our talents and our gifts, or it's something that we have, which is our car and our house or apartment, or the money that we have, the food that we have, the clothing that we have. Any of that stuff is not ours to begin with. It is God's. It's his. And we are supposed to be good stewards of it and manage it in a really good way. And so I really want to think about that. When I was, I guess, growing up in my faith, and I think back to my childhood, I had the messiest room that you would ever see. It was an embarrassment a lot of times. I mean, there would be times when you might actually find a dirty plate that had been there for a while. Rarely did I ever make my bed. And most of the time, my clothes were just all over the place, never organized, never neat. I stuffed them in the closet when I had friends over so that nobody would see. I would throw things under the bed. I was one of those. And I never had it organized, never had it clean. And so when I moved on as an adult, it sort of stayed with me. I was pretty messy. My car was a pretty big mess as well. I had garbage in there, and it was always embarrassing when somebody would want to get a ride and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry about that. And I'd have to move stuff off the seat. And I remember even after I had my daughter, having things in there from her, like, it was because I was kind of lazy. I was like, oh, I'll get to it later. I'll bring it in later. I got to bring in the groceries and I got to bring in her, and I'll bring in that other stuff later, but I never did. And so it just accumulated. And after a while, the stuff just started to stay in the car. And that just carried over into my home. I have to admit, I was not the best at keeping things neat and clean. And a lot of us, may have some of those tendencies as well. But when I really started to think about honoring God with everything, honoring God with my possessions, honoring God with my substance, honoring God with my wealth, and realizing that none of this belonged to me, but in fact was his, I started to treat it differently and started to care for my things differently. Started to care for my vehicles better, making sure that they were clean, making sure that there wasn't I didn't leave anything in them at the end of the trip. I cleaned the vehicle out. I took the time to do that. I would make sure that I didn't leave my house a mess, put my things away. Now, there are days when, the laundry sits in a pile for a day or so before I get it put away. But I'm getting even better at that. I'm getting better at making sure that, you know what, I'm going to do this now. While I'm doing it, I'm going to do it now. and organizing and keeping things organized, because it's sort of like, think to yourself, you want to be ready. You want to be ready for anything at any moment. And if you were going to have guests over, or if somebody was going to ride in your car, or if somebody was going to visit your home, right? You want to have everything there looking nice so that when they walk in, it's very put together and organized. And I really believe that this is honoring God. You're honoring God with your possessions when you do that. One of the things that I think was true for me anyway, was that I had too much of things. Just recently I kind of reorganized my office. I had too many things in here, and I needed to downsize and get rid of some things so that the office would have a better feel. Do you have too many clothes? Maybe you need to give some away. Do your children have too many toys? Maybe they should be taught the giving piece. Maybe you go with them and you say, listen, let's downsize. Let's give away some of these things. Let's not have so many toys. Because mess and clutter comes from having too much of something. So downsize, get rid of some things. Look at what you can live with minimally and move the other stuff away. Keep the things that are important to you and give the rest away to someone that could use them. Caring for your possessions in this way is, I think, one of the best things that we can do. If you buy a new pair of shoes, make sure you're either throwing a pair out because they were well used and well worn, or you're giving a pair away. If you buy some new something new for your kitchen, make sure you're not just adding to your kitchen, but you're also removing things from your kitchen. You don't want to keep adding and giving away and adding. You don't want to keep adding to your mess. You want to make sure that you are organizing your mess, right? And so that means that you give away more, probably. I know there was a point in time when I had too many pieces of furniture, just way too many pieces of furniture. I accumulated them from this, that, or the other thing. And I had so many pieces of furniture in my home that it was cluttery. So, and I wasn't really using them for the purpose that they had. I was kind of storing things on them and using them inappropriately. So take a look. Is your bookshelf being used for books, or are you using it for other things? Is your table being used as a table, or is it being used for something else? Look and see what you're doing and start to remove the clutter and get rid of the excess. That's an honoring God move to make. The other thing is to consider your expenses. We always consider our big expenses, right? When we're going to buy something big, like a washing machine or a dryer or a dishwasher or a refrigerator. We think about these big expenses, and we really look and do our research and looking at how much it's going to cost us and how we're going to do it, right? But do we really think about those small expenses? The coffee, the pack of gum, the chips. Do we really think about those small expenses? Because those little things add up. Little things add up over time, and that could be an expense that you really didn't need to spend money on. So think about all of it, because all of this is honoring God with your possessions, with your wealth, and with your substance. When you think about your talents and your gifts, are you honoring God with those? Are you doing something about them? Are you giving compliments to people? Are you respecting others? Are you listening instead of giving your opinion? Are you being patient and Are you quick to forgive and overlook mistakes? That also is a way for you to honor God with your wealth, your possessions, your substance. I hope this is helpful, and I hope it starts to get you thinking a little bit more. Take it one step at a time. Now, of course, if you need a little bit more guidance in this area, you might want to reach out to me for some individual coaching. But I definitely feel like if you take your thoughts and your ideas and you just bring them before God, God will do the how and you do the do. Make it a great day, and I'll see you again on Monday.